You've told yourself you want to read more. You've got a stack of books sat by your bed and even more downloaded on your Kindle. You know that reading more would be good for you, but when it comes to the evening, you sit down on the sofa and you watch Netflix. I don't know about you, but this happens to me every single time. So in this video, I'm going to show you what reading really does to your brain and how to build a reading habit that you can actually stick to. So you can keep reaping those rewards. Your future brain thanks you. All right, let's get into it. I've been an avid reader my whole life, and I run a publishing business that helps writers publish. So anything reading or writing related fascinates me. I've read a lot about how reading benefits the brain. When we read, we start by seeing all of the patterns and shapes on the page. These images are then sent to the back of the brain where they are processed just like any other image. Next, they are sent to the temporal lobe, also known as the brain's letterbox. This is where your brain realizes that the black squiggles are in fact letters that make up a word. Then this information travels from the letterbox to the frontal lobe and other areas of the temporal lobe. This is where the brain works out what this word actually means and how it's pronounced. In an experienced reader, this whole process takes less than half a second. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why does all of this matter? Well, I found a study showing that people who read 30 pages of a book each night have more left temporal lobe activity the next morning. This is the area of the brain that's responsible for memory. There have also been many studies linking reading with lower risks of dementia. It's also linked to emotional regulation, which could potentially explain why a lot of people find that reading helps to reduce their stress and their anxiety. And have you ever got stuck and you just can't find the word you need to describe something? It's super frustrating, right? Well, the temporal lobe is also responsible for verbal recall. So again, this will help you retrieve your words faster. The second 2 points were only shown to work in the short term. So that means you have to build a habit to get those benefits. You have to read daily. You can't just read once a month, which is why the next key is building a reading habit that sticks. If you're enjoying the video, make sure to like and subscribe for more great content like this. It helps more people to find the channel and means you never miss great videos. The first step to building a great reading habit is to start small. I personally try and read a few pages at night on my Kindle and a few first thing in the morning. I tell myself I'm going to read just one page. I run a business, I'm married with 2 kids, I have 2 crazy Labradors running around. I'm sure, like me, you also have a lot of commitments, so it's key we don't set the bar too high. And what you find is once you start, it's much easier to keep going. Starting is always the hardest part. And once you've started reading, it's easy to keep going. Another tip is to keep your phone away from you. This is something I've been working on myself. And so what I do instead is keep my Kindle near. So I don't pick up my phone and have a mindless scroll. Instead, I pick up my Kindle. Basically, I'm replacing a bad habit with a good one, habit swapping. Another great way to make this a habit is to set reading times, which can really boost the amount of reading you do. Now, when I say set times, I don't mean an alarm goes off at 10 p.m. and I leap into bed with a book and ignore everything else that's going on. Instead, I aim to read once I get into bed, whether that's 10 p.m., 10:17 p.m. So it's more about having a trigger moment or when I sit down after dinner. Whatever it is, just make it as regular as brushing your teeth. So now we have built an amazing reading habit. How do we actually remember everything we read and make use of it? Now, I know you're watching this video because you love reading, but chances are if you love reading books, you've probably thought about writing one. And we offer everything from ghostwriting to complete publishing packages for authors, as well as editing, cover design, and more. Everything to help you craft and publish a best-selling book. You can also sign up to our free newsletter below for writing tips, tricks, and more. Now, the fact is, we remember a small amount of what we read. So how can we make this time more productive? I do a couple of things. I use Kindle highlighting, which is super useful when paired with an app called Rewires. What it does is resurfaces these highlighted passages for me in a daily email digest. It creates a perpetual cycle which helps keep the most useful bits of information top of mind for me. I'm also a big fan of putting sticky notes in the book and using a highlighter. Basically, the opposite of what you get taught in school about not writing on your books. I write all over my books. And the other option is to write these up in a Notion page or other note-taking app. But honestly, that additional friction just means it's probably never going to get done. Thanks for watching the video. Give it a thumbs up if you got value and subscribe so you don't miss any of our future videos.